Okay. Good morning, Jane Binnion here. I'm interviewing Nicola Humber about her new book, Money Mastery, or as she says, Money Mastery. And I've known Nicola a while now, but I first started talking with Nicola about, in terms of my book, The Heart of Sales, and Nicola is mentioned in that because she was, I did a session with her looking at money and money blocks, and that was 3 years ago, must be 3 years ago, I bet. And I've known Nicola, I've got to know Nicola much more over the last year or so. So I'm very pleased she's putting out a new book. I've got her first book, which is, what's it called? How to Not Be a
You're in a Good Girl.
Yeah. Which is great, and that's great fun. So I know that most of us have got a very interesting relationship with money. That's why I was keen to interview Nicola about her new book, which comes out next week, Nicola?
Yeah, 21st of March. It's going to be available on Kindle. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So, first of all, Nicola Humber, tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh goodness, this could be the whole interview, but I'll try to make sure it's not. So I am a coach and a hypnotherapist. That's what I do now. But before that, I worked in finance for many years. So my degree is in business studies, which I can't quite believe now. Looking back, I don't think I would choose that now, but it's felt like kind of the good girl, the sensible thing to do at the time. And when I graduated, I kind of drifted into working in finance and financial services. So did that for many years before it's about 8-9 years ago now. I thought I just don't want to do this anymore, and quite instinctively made the decision to retrade as a hypnotherapist, which was a bit random at the time. It was a very kind of, like I say, instinctive decision. Did that, started my own business about 7 years ago now, set up my hypnotherapy and coaching practice. And I thought, yeah, okay, I'll set up my business, set up my website, and clients will just come to me. And, it'll be great because I'll be making money doing the things that I love doing, helping people. And it didn't quite happen like that. And even though I'd been working kind of in finance and as a financial advisor and working with money for all of these years, I never realized how much kind of stuff, and that's the term I use, this kind of technical term, this stuff I had going on underneath, these kind of strange beliefs that I had, these stories that I was telling myself about money, which only showed up for me when I started my own business and I was directly responsible for the money that was actually being created in my life.
Absolutely, yeah. It is, when you're employed and the check just comes in, it's different to when you have to sell yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I didn't kind of appreciate how different it would be to, like you say, having that kind of salary check kind of going into my account every month and knowing exactly how much I was going to be getting every month and being able to plan around that, having that security, and then starting my own business. And all of a sudden, 1 month you could be earning nothing and the next month it could be quite a good month. And I tended to think, oh, well, this is all about the practicals. This is, about the stuff that I'm doing, and I just need to do more, or I need to get it right, and then everything will be okay. And I didn't appreciate, like I said, all of this stuff, mindset stuff and the emotions around money that were impacting on my ability, to sell myself and kind of create money in my life.
I really, as you know, I run the Growing Club, and of course money runs through that as an issue about pricing and all sorts. But I know a lot of men that are pretty rubbish with money as well. So I was just wondering why you've written this book for women.
Because that's a really good question. And, men could read the book and probably benefit a lot from it as well. I choose to focus on women in the work that I do because I am one, and I really enjoy working with women. And you know, all of the work I do, I guess, is based in one way or another on my personal experience. So my experience as a woman kind of inform all of the work that I do. So I can't help but write from that or work from that viewpoint. And I do think, yeah, there are men who are rubbish with money in lots of different ways. But there are some unique kind of issues that, or maybe not completely unique, but you know, if we're kind of generalizing a little bit, but there are some kind of special issues that women tend to have around money. And you know, when we're talking about money, my work focuses on money, but you can't talk about money and your ability to create it without like looking at all of this other kind of stuff that goes on. It's, you know, we have to look at it holistically. And I think as women, you know, this ties in with the work you do as well, Jane. We can be very reluctant to sell ourselves and to ask for money for the work that we do. And in my experience of like working with men and, you know, being around men, there aren't quite the same sort of issues. There may be different sort of issues that they have towards money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, absolutely. And definitely I think confidence is part of that. And imposter syndrome comes up so much for women. And that's definitely going to affect what you think people will give you, how much dosh people will give you.
Absolutely. I mean, when I worked in finance for a number of years, I worked in a company that was very kind of male dominated. All of the other financial advisors were men. And, you know, looking back, and I write about this in the book, actually, it's one of the kind of sections of the book. They had so much kind of confidence, and I say kind of misplaced confidence a lot of the time in their abilities, but they just didn't seem to question their kind of place within the organisation, or, you know, their ability to be able to go out and sell to clients. There was none of that kind of like, oh, am I good enough? Or should I be asking for this much? There was none of that at all. And, you know, I guess I didn't kind of recognise it so much at the time. But looking back on it, you know, I'm quite in awe of the self-confidence that they had. You know, and it's like, well, as women, you know, why don't we have that same level of just knowing that we are good enough and that it's okay to ask for, you know, good money for the work that we do? Why do we always have to question ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. And that pricing is just, I mean, for me, absolutely for me too. Can I ask for that much money? Okay. Let's try. Oh, I got away with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, wow.
That's what I get tomorrow. Okay. So your book says it will help women get into the flow of money. And of course, so many books promise things, and then you buy the book, and then it actually isn't true. Why is your book any different? Are you promising something and not, you know, are we going to get what you're promising here, Nicola, in this book?
Well, my intention is that you will. And that is a great question, because there are lots of books out there around money, and I was actually not intending to put this book out there. But it's just one of my clients actually said, Nicola, you know, you do all this work around money, when are you going to actually write a book about it? And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But what I did actually was I looked back, you know, for the past 3 years in my work, I've been focusing on money, and over that 3-year period, I've written all of this content, all of these blogs and articles. And when I thought, well, I'll just look at what I've got. And I had like over 40,000 words. And I thought, actually, I can put this into a book. This is a book. So the book is actually all of these articles and blog posts that I've written over the past 3 years. And I think because of that, you know, as I read back through them, and I very openly say in the introduction to the book, I'm not saying that I've got this stuff completely nailed. There are definitely still times when I find it really challenging around money and kind of pricing and asking for money. And, you know, there have been times when I've kind of really managed to grow my income, and there have been times when it's plateaued. You know, I'm very open about that. So I'm not saying that I've got all the answers, but throughout the book, and I think this is maybe a difference between some of the other books out there, you know, some of it is really kind of positive and action taking. And, you know, obviously when I was writing that, I was feeling like that. But there's a lot in there in the book about, you know, when you are feeling stuck or things aren't going so well. And, you know, there was a period of time when I kind of really burned out, and I write about that in the book. So it kind of comes at it from all angles. So my hope is women coming to it will, you know, however they're feeling at the moment, whether they're feeling, yes, I'm going to go for it, or, oh, I'm just feeling really flat and stuck and rubbish at the moment, there is something in there. They can go to like the particular section and go, okay, well, what can I do today to feel better? You know, and one of my hopes is, you know, it's almost like a money oracle that you can just kind of, you know, go to a particular page. It's on Kindle, so you don't actually kind of won't be able to flick through the pages, but, you know, you can go to a particular section and think, this is what I need today. So yeah, like I said, I see it as a kind of support for women, however they're feeling or whatever's going on for them in their lives at a particular time, to help them create more flow, you know, in their finances and feel better about money. So it might not be that you feel kind of amazing about money and that you're kind of creating lots of it just from like reading one chapter in the book. You'll feel better and have an idea of what you can do to kind of shift your situation.
Okay, so it's very practical. It sounds like it's very practical.
Well, yeah, there's definitely elements of it. You know, in everything that I write, I want to give people kind of something that they can go away and do. But when I say do, that might be kind of doing something around your mindset. So it's practical. There is definitely some practical stuff in there around money, but a lot of it is kind of focused, obviously, on mindset and kind of your emotional well-being around money, and like I said, holistically, because you can't really deal with money in isolation. So yeah, it's practical in that sense.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm very excited about getting it.
Yes.
Because yeah, I mean, there are lots of books that are about money and webinars and all sorts about money, but it just doesn't quite connect. So okay, I'm very excited about this. And so tell us, what does it mean? What does it look like and feel like to be in the flow around money?
It's this is something that I've kind of thought about a lot, specifically over the past kind of 3 years or so, where I've been focusing on this area. And I think it looks different to everyone. And, you know, this again goes back to, you know, all these different books, all this different content out there. It's such an individual thing, our relationship with money. Yes, there are some general themes, but it kind of, you know, changes from person to person and day to day. So I think that kind of feeling of being in flow as well is very individual, and it kind of shifts over time and again from day to day. So there are some days when I do feel like completely in flow, and there's other days when I don't. And the interesting thing is it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the amount of money in my bank account. And this is what I find for a lot of my clients. You know, clients can say, well, I've got some more money coming in, but actually I don't feel that great, or I haven't, you know, I'm not kind of making that much money, but I do feel kind of good at the moment. So, you know, this is another thing. There's this idea that if we make more money, we'll solve everything, which is not necessarily the case. So for me, that feeling of being in flow is, I guess, a feeling of freedom. being able to spend my time, for me, it's very much about time, being able to spend my time in the way that I want to. And I constantly have to be reminding myself that, Nicola, you are in charge of how you spend your time. And very often I'm kind of creating stuff, and I see this in a lot of the women around me. We can create kind of stuff that we feel we should be doing. So for me, that feeling of being in flow, around my money, in my business, in all parts of my life, is about just kind of almost taking a step back and going, actually, what do I want to do? And if I'm thinking about making money, or I've set myself some goal, it's like, well, what is that goal about? Why am I telling myself I want to make that amount? Do I really want to make that amount? It's that, I guess it's constantly just checking in with yourself and just saying, look, is this really what I want? Is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to have? Is this how I want to spend my time? For me, that's what flow is, when you're really kind of in alignment with your true kind of desires and wants.
I'm having the same situation as that poor man in Korea with when the BBC were interviewing him. Except it's the dog. But I'm just going to ignore her a minute.
Maybe we'll go viral, Jane.
I know, I hope so. Okay, get out of the way. Okay.
But the thing is, because it's two women talking to each other and not a guy on the BBC, it's not going to go viral, is it?
Well, who knows? I'll push it. All right. So just tell us how we can get your book and how much it is, and go on.
Okay, it's available on Kindle, so you can buy it on Amazon. Just go and search for Money Mastery, Nicola Humber. For the first 48 hours that it's available, so on Tuesday the 21st of March and Wednesday the 22nd, it's going to be available for 99p. So I wanted to just make it really accessible so that everyone, can just grab a copy. So yeah, if you're watching this and you're interested in getting a copy, then go and grab it in those first 48 hours. So yeah, that's how you get a hold of it. And like I said, there's lots of kind of different sorts of content in there, and there's also when you get the book, there's lots of different resources that you can sign up for, free resources as well.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
So lots of extra goodies.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And, like I've been saying, I think our needs around money and what we need to focus on change from kind of day to day, month to month, and kind of throughout the year. Particularly as women, we're kind of cyclical beings. We're not kind of linear beings. And I think, that is part of the process, recognizing that and allowing us to have these times of like ebbing and flowing. So the resources, all of the resources that I offer kind of, like I said, some of them are more for when you're in the kind of go-getting phase, and others are for when you're just like, no, I just need to kind of take a step back and have some time, have some space.
It sounds brilliant, and I can't wait. I will be downloading it. Thank you very much, Nicola, and good luck with it.
Oh, thank you, Jane, and thank you for inviting me to speak with you today. Really enjoyed it.
Okay, great. And here comes the dog. All right, my dear. Thank you.
Bye.